We spend our entire lives working for money, saving money, spending money. But what if I told you that the real rules of how it all works have been hidden from you? Not the stuff you learn in a textbook, but the invisible system that's steering your entire financial future. What you're about to hear might just change the way you see everything. And that's really what this all comes down to. The financial world is a game. And for a lot of us, we've been playing on a board where the rule book was kept secret, often by the very people who benefit from us not knowing how to play. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're learning the rules together. All right, let's start at square one. The absolute basics. We're going to ask a question that seems so simple, but the answer is the key to unlocking this whole system. So really, what is money? You might be thinking, well, it's a medium of exchange, or it's a store of value. And hey, you're not wrong, but that's just scratching the surface. The real nature of money today comes down to one simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's all about trust. It's just a shared belief, a great big agreement. That's right. See, for centuries, money was actually backed by something physical, like gold. You could, in theory, walk into a bank and trade your paper dollar for a little piece of gold. But that's not how it works anymore, not even close. Today, we use something called fiat currency. Its value isn't tied to a pile of gold in a vault. It's based entirely on our collective trust and confidence in the government that issues it. And if that trust ever goes away, well, so does the value of the money. So here's a thought that might mess with your head a bit. That paycheck you get, it isn't actually wealth. It's a claim on wealth. It's basically a claim check, an IOU from the system. It's a promise that you can swap it for real things, like food and rent. And as long as we all keep believing in that promise, the game goes on. But this is just the first illusion. Okay, so if money is just this big promise and it's not backed by gold, where does it all actually come from? Well, to answer that, we've got to go inside the engine room of the financial system. The mechanism that creates almost all the money in our economy has a name. It's called fractional reserve banking. Now, it sounds super complicated, right? But the actual idea behind it is shockingly simple. Okay, let's walk through this together because this is where it gets a little wild. So you go and deposit $1,000 into your bank account. The bank is legally required to hold on to only a fraction of that deposit. Let's say 10%, so $100. It then takes the other $900 and loans it out to someone else, maybe for a car. Now here comes the magic trick. Your bank account, it still says you have $1,000. But the person who got the car loan, they also now have $900 in their account. And poof, just like that, $900 of brand new money was just created, digitally, out of thin air, from a loan. And that right there, that's the big secret of the whole system. Almost every single digital dollar that exists is actually debt. It was literally loaned into existence, and it only continues to exist because someone, somewhere, is on the hook to pay it back, with interest. Now this leads us to the system's core logic. Why? Why is it designed this way? The answer reveals a fundamental, and let's be honest, kind of unsettling truth about how our economy is built. You see, this total reliance on debt, it isn't some accident or a flaw that needs to be fixed. It was engineered this way on purpose to guarantee one thing: constant economic growth. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Just think about it for a second. If a bank loans out $1 million at 5% interest, it's created $1 million in the economy. But it now needs $1 million times $50,000 to be paid back. So where does that extra 50 grand come from? It doesn't exist yet. It has to be created. How? You guessed it. From more loans. This creates a perpetual cycle that demands more and more debt be created, forever. And to keep this whole thing spinning, the system has these incredible psychological hooks. And if you're just starting your career, man, the pressure is real. We're taught to signal that we're successful by what we buy: the nice car, the new phone. Marketing trains us from childhood to want expensive things. And easy credit is always there to say, you can have it right now. But this all leads to the comfort trap. Because think about it, a person with a car payment and a mortgage, they're predictable. They're probably not going to quit their job or take a big risk. They've got payments to make. And the results of all this? Well, the numbers are just staggering. In the US, the average household is carrying over $150,000 in debt. And the national debt? It's on track to be over $37 trillion. This isn't just a bunch of people being bad with money. No, this is the natural result of a system designed for debt. Okay, so this all sounds pretty intense, right? But here's where we get to the most important part. If debt is the fuel for the whole system, how do you deal with it? This is where knowing the rules of the game really starts to matter, because there are two completely different ways to play. Just look at this, the two sides of the same coin. For most people, debt is a trap. You borrow money to consume, to buy things like cars, phones, vacations, stuff that starts losing value the second you buy it. And you pay for all of it with your hard-earned after-tax money. But for the investor, for the wealthy, it's a completely different story. For them, debt is a tool. They borrow to buy assets, things like real estate or businesses that actually make the money and go up in value. And the best part, the interest they pay on those loans is often a tax write-off. It's the exact same financial product, but with two totally opposite results. For one person, it's a chain. For the other, it's a lever. This is the fundamental difference in how the game is played. So, knowing all of this, how do you start playing the game differently? How do you write your own playbook? Well, it doesn't start with a big action. It starts with a simple shift in how you think. And honestly, this might be the most important thing you take away from all this. Understanding this system frees you from the trap of blaming yourself. It wasn't that you were bad with money. You were just playing a rigged game without knowing the rules. And the moment you realize that, you get the power to start making conscious, different choices. It means you can actually decide to opt out of that whole status game, that pressure to signal wealth you don't really have. You can choose, consciously, to not buy things you can't truly afford. Look, you can't just pack up and leave the system, right? But you can 100% change your strategy for playing in it. Because at the end of the day, that's the real win here. The goal isn't just about becoming a millionaire. It's about achieving financial freedom, building a life where you are in charge, where your money works for your goals, and not the other way around. So I'm going to leave you with this question. You now know the rules of the game in a way that most people never will. The next move is yours. The real question is, what are you going to do about it?